the Tyrant from Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 2 had Mr. X or William Birkin. Resident Evil 3 had Nemesis.
That's what Maple wants. Maple really wants Nemesis in the game.
I don't know, I kind of feel like they wouldn't go Nemesis. Because I feel like at the end of the day, it's about, like, you know, the gameplay. Like, what can they do with it? And Nemesis? I don't know what his ability would be, per se.
Like, they tend to always put their own little personal touch when they add a killer, like their own unique ability. Like, look at Pyramid Head. None of the shit that he does in the game is any of the stuff that he's done in any of the Silent Hill games.
I mean, to be fair, it's not exactly like, you know, what he does in the game is, you know,
as much.
It's strictly lore-breaking.
Like, they just had their own little take at Pyramid Head and gave him their own unique ideas of what they think he could do if he had a power, is what I look at it.
I mean, you know, there's nothing saying that Pyramid Head couldn't have a power. Because, I mean, he's a representation of one's mental state.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will still stand by it's weird to put him against Heather Mason, but I recognize that out of all of the Silent Hill protagonists, she's the main one that most people can identify.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the base graphical quality of her game, and she's the only Silent Hill protagonist that have made it to the big screen in a movie. Whether that was good or not, that's irrelevant. The point is,
it was good
she's got the recognition.
Look, that is the movie that made every girl horny for the Pyramid Head out there.
I feel like girls were already horny for Pyramid Head. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, but the mannequin just made it worse.
Pyramid Head, his whole bit was that, you know, it was a representation of the main character's sexual feelings. Which is why, you know, playing through the game, you can find him fucking the different monsters. Like, if I remember right, there's one in particular where he's plowing the shit out of one of the fucking bubblehead nurses. See, the bubblehead nurses, that, you know, that made the guys horny. Like, there was something for everyone with that game.
See, going back to the Resident Evil thing, like you said, they probably won't add Mario modes, but at the same time, most things in video games, like if you do a crossover with a video game, it's basically just, if the series is relevant, it's basically just an ad, like, hey, we want to do a crossover to promote our new game. This is the newest game. You know, they would definitely probably put her in there to promote the newest game, as much as I hate the idea of her being in the game. I think they would do that.
Hang on. When does Resident Evil 8 drop?
No idea. I know the new chapter drops in June 2021, that's when the 50th anniversary starts.
Alright, someone look up real quick when Resident Evil 8 is dropping, because if the drop isn't timed right, they aren't gonna put, I think her name was Lady Dimitrescu?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're not gonna put her in, because it's, you know, it's too ill-timed. Because they're trying to, like, you know, keep the story of it under wraps.
May 7th, I think, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah.
What is it called? Village?
Village.
Yeah, May 7th, 2021.
Yeah.
So they actually probably could, because the chapter releases in June. The game comes out a month before.
They could then.
So it's not off the table. I'm hoping they don't do that. I would hope for maybe like Mr. X. Someone who's, because he's big, bad, and scary. I remember when he creamed you in that one Spectre Spook video he recorded.
Dude, he creamed the shit out of me.
So, the possibilities of who could be the killer, it could be like basically any one of the ghouls or monsters from the series, but who would they put as the survivor? Chris, Piers, you know, who would be the survivor?
It's definitely not going to be Piers, but I do actually have a theory on that. Just take a look at the trailer. We see an umbrella logo fucking, you know, fall to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest issues with, like, bringing any of the main line Resident Evil characters in is that all of them are certified badasses who can fight anything. Even, like, some of the most obscure characters, they can fucking fight. So I mean, you know, the entire point of Dead by Daylight is that you can't really fight back. Unless they implement that as, like, you know, a mechanic for the specific survivor, but I don't think they will.
The perks are probably will probably be based off of doing that, like, with a pallet or something, or like a flashlight or some shit.
Multiple hostile
I
spy planes
don't
detected.
think it'll go like that. Here's what I think it'll go with. The survivor is gonna be a fucking Umbrella Corporation.
Multiple hostile spy planes
Either
detected.
some nameless fuck we've never heard about and has no real, well, like, they might have relevancy to the mainline story, but they're relatively obscure that, you know, it's not exactly someone you'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe they throw in fucking so-and-so, because you don't know who the fuck they are. But at the same time, if they do it like that, like, you know, the amount of Umbrella employees that can actually fight, it's pretty limited. And we hear a male scream when they're put on a hook, so, you know, it's obviously gonna be a male employee. So that's my theory for the survivor, and it would make sense if they, you know, based it off of that, then it wouldn't be Lady Mommy Milkers, because as far as we know, she doesn't have any direct connection to Umbrella. At least not in a way where she would be hunting down some fucking Umbrella executive.
I still feel like one of the more badass characters, like Chris, wouldn't be off the table, because you have to remember that we also have Ash and Bill from their respective zombie killing games, where they were badasses and fighters. So putting one of the main characters from the RE games isn't also off the table either.
I mean, you're right, it's not particularly off the tables, but I mean, Chris in particular touches a boulder. Now, the one I will say, like, if we're talking, like, mainline cast, but I don't think they would go for it just because of how poorly the game was received, is Piers.
That's what, yeah, because you just immediately excuse. It would make sense, though, if they chose him. Because you have to remember, in most cases in DVD, not all of them, but in some cases, the person, when a survivor ends up in the entity, there's a good chance that they're there because they died, and that's where they ended up going instead. Remember, Adam, in the Spirit Lore, he died in a train wreck, and then he got sent to the realm of the entity, so lore-wise, it would make sense if it was Pierce, because then he would be sent to the entity's realm instead of dying. It's same with Bill. He died in his game, and then he was sent to the realm of the entity, so that's why I think Pierce would be a very logical fit for that.
Overall, that points to Piers. However, the broken, or like the Umbrella logo on the ground, that's what contradicts that evidence. So, like I said, it's probably going to be a nameless employee, or rather, they'll give him. But I think the other issue that they don't want is most of the time they include like a bio for the killer and for the survivor. Which, if they throw in, like, you know, what's her face, and they include her backstory, which they're gonna want to keep that to the main game, then it might, you know, it's not gonna stop anyone from buying the game, but to a certain extent, someone who, you know, they got the chapter before they got the main game, they'd spoil themselves.
True.
And, you know, while Resident Evil is very much kind of like a cheesy series, as far as like how over the top it is, a lot of things they rely on, like, you know, first playthrough value. That's not to say that it has no play value, because I played the shit out of Resident Evil 2. Considering I think I beat that game like 4 times, not including the time that I speed ran the game, you know, when Ricky was doing the playthrough for Spectre Suite. Then there were all the side things going on, and the amount of times that I went through the 4th survivor just to try to get the Spectre Suite. That was a pain in the ass.
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
And I
Planes detected.
But either way, that is my argument for why it won't be, you know, Mommy Milkers.
I still would think, like, I hope it's not her out of all the things, but I can see why they probably would do her to promote the new game. But I would hope for either Nemesis or Mr. X. As far as it goes for Survivor, I really can't really think of who they would add. Again, Chris and Piers are my top choice. Maybe the one guy from the 4th game. But that's all I can really think of because I don't know Resident Evil as well as some other people.
Guy from the 4th game, Leon.
Yeah, that one.
I don't think they'll include anyone from Leon's game. This is Leon is another one where he's too badass in a game like this, even without a gun. What do you call it? The man is trained to, you know, fucking fight with just a knife or without a knife. Like, he's a kung fu master. Like, we saw that in his game, we saw that in, you know, the additional movies. And we saw that, what do you call it, in all the side media. Now, you know what, a contender that I could believe, that, you know, it's a little off, but Ethan Winters, I can see them putting in. I mean, because, I mean, as far as backstory goes, it doesn't really matter what they put on there. You know, it's not exactly going to be spoilers for the game because it's already got an established history. My other theory for, like, you know, potential killer is Resident Evil 6's fucking goddamn main boss, the Ustanak. Actually, if I think about it, Resident Evil 6 had like fucking 4 different bosses.
As long as it's a reasonable size, then it could probably make it in here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if they put in Nemesis, what do you think the ability is going to be?
They definitely are going to put their own little touch on it, like they did at Pyramid Head. That's for sure. So I can't really say for certain.
I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure he's gonna have, like, you know, a grab ability.
Probably. Let's not forget, like, it doesn't stop with there. Imagine what the kind of perks he would have. Like, look at how amazing Trickster's perks were. They either are going to give him really, really good perks, or they're going to give him really, really bad perks. Trickster's an example of a killer that had good perks, so was Leatherface, and then, as much as I hate to say it, Deathslinger and Twins were kind of an example of killers that just kind of had perks that didn't really change anything.
Yeah.
Like, Hoarder, one of the Twins perks, actually made it easier for the survivors to escape, especially after they nerfed it. So it's like, well, you know, the perks are going to be really good or they're going to be really bad. So it really all depends on that as well. I'm hoping they come out with good perks, though, for the killer.
I mean, I'm sure the perks will be fun. You know, yeah, here's the thing. What if we get just a killer and no survivor again, and we just get survivor outfits?
I wouldn't be surprised, because if you remember Ghostface, they did him for the 30th anniversary, and we just got a killer. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again, where it was just a killer, and then
like,
you get
I could see us, like, for, what's his face? Dwight, I could see us getting an Ethan Winters outfit for him. We'll maybe get a Jill outfit for the ladies. Like, they're gonna... Even if we get, like, you know, a killer and a survivor, we're definitely getting the outfits.
Yeah, 100%. And who knows, the killer might even get his own, like, behavior makeover and get his own unique pair of outfits, because if you look at the Pyramid Head, he has his default Pyramid Head outfit, and then he has the movie outfit, and then he has one outfit that he's never worn in any Silent Hill media, which is the Forged in Fire skin. That was a completely original outfit, which is actually his best looking one, if you ask me.
It's always nice when a studio can take creative liberties. You know what, that's the other bit then. We could narrow down who the killer might be, just based off their potential for different outfits. Because at that point, they can milk the game for getting people to either buy more of their fucking shit or farm the game to get the necessary things.
Even Bill is going to be getting his own outfits in like a couple days.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
which are probably going to be original because I know Detective Tap got his behavior makeover with his set of outfits.
Yeah.
So, who do you think they could milk with the terms of costume? I'm still kind of pushing on Mr. X there.
I'm definitely pushing Mr. X because, I mean, look, he's got a sweet-ass coat. They can throw in, what do you call it, his second form. Because if I remember right, outside of... Oh, Mr. X never really fully evolves into, like, anything amorphous. He's always relatively humanoid. At least as far as, like, you know, how he is in terms of shape.
That could probably play into his power, where he does morph into that.
Yeah, where he's got the fucking, you know, the goddamn giant-ass claw. It extends the reach of his hit.
Oh my god, if you combine that with the twins perk that increases the lunge of a killer's attack.
Oh, See, that would bring up the question, like, you know...
Would that be considered
Mr.
a basic
X,
power?
he's got some hops.
The more we think about it, the more I am starting to think, yeah, they definitely might go with him.
Yeah, because, I mean, they can give him some, you know... There's the outfits that he's got in the game, and then there's, you know... There's the potential to put him in their own outfits. Like, you know, they go fucking in his Resident Evil 2 remaster look, they go with, you know, what he had in, the Resident Evil, what was it? Not Vendetta. Degeneration, I think? Because he was in that movie, or at least there was a version of him in it. So as far as, the, you know, outfits go, I think he's the winner on that one.
And he's the most iconic one, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's, as far as iconic goes, it's between him and, fucking Nemesis.
Yeah,
Like,
Maple
as much as I'd like Nemesis to be my pick as the one I want, Mr. X seems more likely.
Well, we'll see in general. What do you think if Mr. X does get you? What do you think his main weapon would be? Like his default weapon?
His fucking fists.
But there's no customization option for that.
You're making a good point.
Because, like, part of the thing about the killer's customization is, like, some of the customization options for their weapons is pretty sick.
Yeah. You know, I don't know, man. I mean, there's not a lot that they...
I mean, if it was Nemesis, then that's a different story as well.
Because, well, I mean, if it's Nemesis, I feel like his main weapon would be the goddamn tentacle, which... How much... You know what, that's a dumb question. You can actually customize the tentacle a lot. But... by the same token...
Again, he could probably... If it was Nemesis, an idea of how that would work is he'd probably play like Deathslinger, where he extends the tentacle and grabs you.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if it's like Jack from 7, I don't think that would work out just because if they go with the chainsaw thing, he's gonna be too much like the two others with the chainsaw.
Yeah, we already have enough killers with the chainsaws already. It's a miracle Leatherface got in considering the other one existed.
Yeah, and then, you know, even if they, like, Jack is the one who has, like, the most versatile in terms of, you know, melee weapons. Because most of the other ones, they just smack or hit you on their own.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
But Jack, you know, he's got intelligence. He usually uses a weapon.
True.
I don't think they'll pick an enemy from Resident Evil 4. They're a little too big. Resident Evil 5 is kind of the same thing because I feel like out of all of the enemies, the only one that was particularly memorable was Wesker.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking Wesker too. I just wasn't sure how it would work.
I mean, he is a character who's dead. He is rather powerful, but the issue with Wesker is, I think, since they just released Trickster,
Mm-hmm.
they've already got, like, you know, one small killer just added to the roster. And so they're probably going to go with another big one. Because they want to balance it out.
I mean...
Wesker offers a lot in terms of customization as far as outfits.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
In fact, probably the most.
Sentry turret
Just
active.
because he's got so many different outfits for different games, movie outfits, which, I mean, they're kind of the same as the goddamn game, but the point still remains. As far as that goes, he's got customization options.
I don't know, like, the size thing, they've done, like, big and small killers in rotation. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head the list of killers if they've ever done two small ones back to back. I don't think they did.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, as far as small killers go, there's Legion, there's, fucking
Ghostface, Spirit.
Yeah, Spirit, I guess you kind of count. It still seems a little big.
The thing with Trickster is he's not only kind of like small, but he's also the most normal human-looking killer in the entire game. Like he looks very much like a survivor with how they made him.
Yeah.
But if they add Wesker, I'm pretty sure they probably would beef him up in size because they tend to, with their killers, they tend to make them look a little bigger than the survivor. Like, look at Dunstan here, he's just a huge fucking dude. And he's not any monster or anything, he's just a big dude.
He is in fact a big dude, but he is also just a big
And so is Leatherface. Leatherface is also pretty beefy for just a guy with a chainsaw. Like, they make their killers... What's the word I'm looking for? Noticeably bigger, just to be more menacing in certain situations.
That was Wesker's thing, though. The thing that made him menacing wasn't the fact that he was any bigger, it was just the raw power that he had. Which, I feel like if they were to add Wesker, you know, it would be, I wouldn't say that he'd play exactly like Legion, but Wesker is a speed killer. And that doesn't take away from his strength, because he's got that fucking monster strength. Man was throwing around Chris, who could punch a boulder from being stuck. Like, that's strong.
Jeez.
Enemy deleted.
If they do add Wesker, they could definitely do something with his speed, but we've already had 3 killers who do that now. We have Legion and Blight, who are both like killers that rely on their speed. So they definitely wouldn't play on that, because then we would just have another speed killer.
Yeah.
And one of which is considered to be one of the more top tier killers in the game, being Blight, and the other one is considered to be one of the worst killers in the entire game.
Wait, hang on. Idea just occurred.
Okay.
The hag's weapon is her claw. Can you customize her claw?
Yeah, you can, because it's technically more like a stick attached to her arm. Like, let me take a look at it, because I'm on the game right now. Yeah, it's a giant claw, basically. So yeah, technically Hag is the only killer in the game to use her hand, I guess. So I guess customizing Wesker's, Mr. X's fist wouldn't be out of the question.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean,
the matter of
give him
how we
some
can make
brass
it look
knucks or
different.
something.
Oh, that would be pretty cool, actually, yeah.
Exactly, like, you know, brass knucks, he's just got fucking, like, you know, sticks in his goddamn fucking fist. Like, there's a lot of things that you could technically do, it's just about whether people would be down for that or not.
I mean, it's a chance to see one of the more iconic video game villains come back to life. Like, look,